So that's a different type of a setup. And the one in Waterloo is 80% amateur and 20% pro.
So it looks at the amateur guys. That's cool.
Yeah, their pro ring is called the George Tragus Luthez Hall of Fame, and there the requirement for that Hall of Fame is the pro who could be selected for that has to have had a good amateur background also, and then was successful in the pro.
Right.
Like a Luthez or a Vern Gagne or a Danny Hodge or like a Kurt Angle now.
Yeah, more currently Kurt Angle, right.
Yeah, so I surely wouldn't say nothing against the WWE Hall of Fame because, hey, let's face it, when wrestling had a period of time dying there, Vince McMahon brought the sport back.
That's true.
Whether you agree with it or disagree or like the product or whatever, you can't argue with a man who knew what he was doing.
But how do you feel about the industry, the state it's in now compared to when it was when you were coming along in the industry?
Well, I don't think today's industry will ever see the individual territories and the camaraderie of the boys with each other that was back in the old days. In the old days, you had your territories. You had your organizations that pretty much controlled your territories. When I started promoting, I was plain simply told, you have San Pedro, Oxnard, Oceanside, and Santa Ana. You go out of them territories or try to run a show other than your sanctioned shows, going to break your leg.
That's it, huh?
That was about
so
it.
So they used force.
Well, I never tried it to find out if they meant it or not.
Okay.
But you just did not try to compete with your own people.
Do you think that Vince McMahon encountered any type of hateful feelings toward him when because a lot of people are saying that he broke up the territories.
Basically that is probably very true. I remember when in Los Angeles when my small arenas, when Vince's TV came on, it was strong, good television.
Mm-hmm.
There was no question about it when he had the Ray Stevens and the Playboy Buddy Rhodes and that early group of guys that he started with in 1983. Wrestling, we were already down in our product. Mm-hmm. My shows were going down from the small arenas used to seat 800 to 1,000 people, and I was running 700-800 every week. They were down to 300 and 400. They were dropping down. So when Vince came in with a good product and strong TV, and then also contacted some of our wrestlers and said, hey, you'd like to come to work for us. If you do, you can't continue to work for Karl.
Wow.
And I never objected to that, to be honest with you, because he was offering something that I couldn't. I couldn't tell the boys, yeah, I'll pay you a salary, a weekly salary. I had to pay the guys as we worked. So I never objected to that. But then I saw the different writing on the wall. My idea was not to compete with Vince, but to form a new product. Mm-hmm. And that's when I took over the Olympic Auditorium and started doing strictly Lucha Libre shows. I brought in the real El Santo, the real Negro Casas, the real Blue Demons, the real Paraguayos, the real professional wrestlers from Mexico. And what do you have in Los Angeles?
Yeah, predominantly. 3
or 4 million Mexican people that want to see their heroes from their hometown.
Right.
So, Vince, we had one time where Gorilla Monsoon, Gino Morelli, came to one of our CAC reunions in Newark, New Jersey, along with Vince McMahon and everybody. Mm-hmm. And I went over to introduce myself to Gino, and he said, I know who you are. And I said, I'm flattered that you do, because I didn't think you would. And he said, yeah. He says, we still talk about the time you drew 8,800 people when AWA was at the Forum and we were at LA Sports Arena, mm-hmm. and only drew 10,000 between the two of us. Mm-hmm. But I was running a Mexican show, and my 8,800 people were probably 8,799 Mexicans.
That's right.
Because they came to see what they wanted. So we never competed with each other.
Well, do you see wrestling taking a turn back to some of those old days? Because Pro Wrestling Revolution, even Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer mentioned it. Pro Wrestling Revolution is selling out every show. When I went to King City, and of course Blue Demon Jr. were there, and they focused more on Lucha Libre as well. But the show, it was standing room only almost.
Well, sure, and see what he's doing, and Gabe is very smart there. He's using Latino wrestlers in a Latino area, and Gabe himself is Mexican.
But it's also more than that, because he also has American wrestlers there, like Big John Anderson. I mean, this guy is huge.
Yeah. He's appealing to the audience. How many? What's the size of the venue?
The venue was I guess a court, a basketball court. It was a gymnasium.
So it seat about 800, 900 people.
Absolutely.
And see, that's very respectable business to do that. And will that ever come back? Could he do that everywhere? I don't think so. If he would take that same product to San Francisco, I don't think he would do that good. If he took it to Los Angeles, he would do that good. If he took it to Santa Ana, anywhere where you have an audience that is starving. You familiar with Jesse Hernandez?
Oh, yeah, EWF.
Yeah. Now, Jesse was my referee for 10 years. Jesse has a good product. I understand he's doing very good in West Covina every couple of weeks. You know, and he, the whole trick to being a good promoter is when these young guys come and ask me, well, what advice can you give us to be a good wrestling promoter? And I tell them a word that you need to go to the dictionary and look it up if you don't know it, and that's demographics.